today. Today is going to be a bit interactive. Some questions were sent in through our brother Dwight, and I will see if I can speak to those questions. But I will also have to say that I might not be able to answer or speak to all the questions, especially because not all of them pertain to what I spoke about on Sunday. So I will respectfully would like to ask, ask for your indulgence that I will stick only to the questions. And the reason being several reasons actually. Number one, if I move away from the topic, it will be doing a disservice to the topic on ground. Every question that was submitted, they are all fantastic. And those are the kind of questions that we should be asking. So, but if I attempt to want to answer them, we're going to be deviating totally from the topic on ground. And number two, we might not have time to answer some of those questions. Might take another series, might take another sermon. So what I might propose is maybe one of these days, if we do have time, I don't mind, I can come again, maybe on a weekend or anywhere where we can look at those questions. But I will attend to only the ones that speaks maybe directly to the subject matter or that lean toward the subject matter. So number one, I don't know who sent this question, but if you're hearing it, you probably know who you are. Number one, the writer asked, he said, how do we separate? On one hand, I'm adding my words right now. On one hand, being open. On one hand, I want to be open. And the other hand, from gossip. Okay, reporting issues and so on, and still get discipled. Now, again, I don't know who this person is. I will have asked, can you please clarify? So, but from what I'm reading, how do we separate being open? That was, I want to be open. I want to tell you something that I'm going through or something that I'm helping somebody go through, from gossiping about that person or reporting an issue, reporting issues and so on, and still get discipled. Okay. So towards the last part of it, it's a bit confusing. And that is how the Bible is. If you don't know the mind of the person who is writing, you might assume that the person is saying something else. So let me attempt to decode it. So what's the thin line between, for example, let's say I face something I can't handle. And I'll give you an example. There was a time that I was in, I'm going to try to mask it. Trust me, you don't know who I'm talking about. You have no idea. Even if I give you a million guesses, you never guess. So I won't mention the name, but I'll use the instruction. So I was leading a church. I've led several, churches. One time there was a church I was leading, and there was a young man that was brought to me that he studied the Bible. And when I began talking to the young man, this story happened like 20-something years ago. So it's a long time ago. And the person began talking about some things from one part, the person smokes hemp. From another part, the person is in a cult, a campus cult. From another part, it was just very, very... Now, interestingly, this person had lived a deceitful life. He had been around the church for a while. Then he traveled from our church, one of our church. He went to another church. He has learned our lingo. He has learned the way we do our things. He has studied, but never got baptized. He now moved to another church, and the disciple in this church thought he was a disciple. And they even put him in the equipping class or young leadership class. So, and he was there for I don't know how many months or 1 year, and nobody knew. And they thought he was a disciple. So there was something that happened in that church. A disciple died in that church. And the church leader was now preaching about heaven, about living a right life, about that. The guy was not convicted. The guy now came up and now confessed that, guys, I'm not really a disciple of Jesus. So I know I've studied in the other church where I was coming from, whatever. So, and he also lied to get into school where he was. So they told him, you know what, you need to be open, you need to confess everything. So he moved from that church to the original church where he was. And he had already lied to get admission. So they began studying the Bible with him. So he now moved from there again to another church, another city entirely. In fact, from one country to another city entirely. That was when I now got together with him, and this guy now opened up. I was like, what is all this? So when I went in, like I said, this is almost 30 years ago, about 28 years ago, thereabouts. What I did that time was to go and I contacted the leader of the church who was coming from, and I said, look, I've never had this kind of situation before. I mean, how can this guy? He now told me, tell him to come over so that they can help him. Now, I didn't ask his permission to do that. He was also a disciple. I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know. Now, if I was talking to someone who's a disciple and he comes to confess something to me, and I can't help it, I'll ask, hey, bro, you know, this one, man, this one passed my power. Do you mind if I get somebody else involved? Or who else do you know in the church that can help you? Well, I can give you some suggestion. Sometimes in the bid of seeking advice, we expose the person. All right, just like, you know, what I'm doing now. I can go to someone who is quotes, who I consider as knowledgeable in the church, and I want to seek advice. The first thing I will do is that I will try to mask this person's identity. Now, this guy is not the disciple, so, but interestingly, the guy was talking to, he knows the guy. Said that guy with the dopey eye, tell him to come. So we're able to get there together. I think the guy got help eventually also. So let's seek permission from someone. It must be something you cannot handle. And there's nothing that says that you must be able to handle every situation. Remember the diagram I showed you? There's a time to refer someone, okay? To refer someone. Even as a coach, as a life coach, I refer people. There was a time somebody gave me a call. He said, oh, I saw you on Arise Television. You were talking about, counseling and coaching and marital issue and every single thing. He said, oh, I have this person. Can I come and help this person? Okay. This guy is not a disciple. The person calling me is not a disciple. He just said, contacted me. And I spoke with the man. Apparently, this man just lost his wife a year before. And he remarried almost immediately, like within a year. His child is not doing well. And I now spoke to him. I said, it is not because your child doesn't want to do well. God, the child needs a mom. Okay, it is a mom. I can counsel you. I can counsel the child, but I don't think I'm the best person. Do you mind if I get another coach who is, in fact, this woman is like a grandmom. She's more older than me. And her job is working with teenagers exclusively, with children and teenagers. I said, this woman will be able to better help your child. And the guy agreed. And after I agreed, then I called up this other coach. I said, hey, I have, and it's not free. Of course, they get paid for this. And I said, okay, well, you're going to help this. And I know this one will go all the way. She went beyond. And guess what? It so happened that this family was living just next estate, to them in Lekki, next estate to them. And boom, they connected. And the boy now saw this woman as a mom. She was now open to this woman. So sometimes we can refer. For the fact that you are a quote discipler doesn't make you omniscient. You are not all-knowing. And it takes a lot of humility, to say, you know what, brother, I can have an idea, but I don't think I'm the best person. And I do that a lot. I don't think I'm the best person to help you through this. For example, supposing the person you are helping out, your discipling partner, let's say wants to buy a car, and you don't have a car, you never bought a car before. Will you say, oh, okay, let me go? No, we say, bro, actually, you're talking to the wrong person. I can't even drive. But do you know that guy? That guy has used like about 4 or 5 cars. In fact, he's an expert. He knows the right car. Do you mind if I talk to him on your behalf? Tell him you are coming. That is what we need to do. Yes, there's a thin line. Whoever wrote, whether it's a brother or sister, there's a thin line between gossiping and seeking help. Okay. So you need to ask the why. Why am I talking to another person about this thing? Sometimes some of us will like sensationalism. We just like to go and do amebo, to go and say, come and see, No. Let's hold back. Let's pray about it. Let's our desire to be, I want to be of help to this person. Very, very important. I want to be of help to this person. And if you want to be of help, please do it right. Even doctors refer patients. Sometimes patients die or patients get very complicated because doctors don't want to say, oh, this one passed me. And they'll still be collecting money from the person and be worried. Sometimes they'll say, hey, I think you need to see a specialist. I'm not the person. Even when sometimes I've had a situation where some patients say, no, it is you or no other person. And the person said, no. And that's It happened, during the coronavirus thing. Somebody went to a doctor, and the person was suspecting that he has COVID. And it's okay, doctor, I want to worry. The doctor said, listen, according to the law, I have to report you, to the government. I'm not supposed to, take you in. I can give you some medication, but I have to, report you. That is what the law says. Okay, that is what the law says. And will you believe the similar thing happened to me also? During the COVID era. I didn't know I had COVID. I didn't have COVID. I was going to see a doctor. After a while, my COVID result, after a few days, my COVID result said I was positive. And the doctor, Dr. Francis, referred me to Yaba. Because that is what the law says. You have to go to to go to whatever. So is it being whatever? No, that's what the law says. That's all. So it's also for his own sake. Also for his own sake. No doctor is allowed to treat a private patient that you have confirmed that he has COVID. No doctor is allowed to do that. So for us also, so if that is how the medical world runs, how much more us? Okay, there are some things you don't know. Seek input from that person. Hey, do you mind if I call somebody in? Do you mind if I talk to somebody, whatever, and if they give you, permission, you do it. Now, having said that, now this is now another core area. There's a difference between I operate, even as a life coach, I operate under the status of the International Coaching Federation. And there are guidelines. If I'm going to coach someone, so the disciple, I send them the guideline. Even if a disciple, some of you have coached you before, I'll tell you, this is the guideline. I do not operate under the law of secrecy. I don't do secrecy. I go under the law of confidentiality. There are two different things. In other words, as I'm talking to you, under the law of confidentiality, whatever you tell me stays with me. Okay, even if you are a married man, I don't have the right to go and tell your wife without getting your permission. So it stays with me. So I let you know that, and we're going to sign. Whatever you tell me stays with me. However, if I now judge that you are going to become a danger to somebody else, a danger to society, a danger to whatever, under the law, I am bound to report you. For example, if I'm coaching someone and the person now tells me that, I'm planning to go and bomb the Third Mainland Bridge, I won't say, okay, I'm a counselor. I'm counseling. I'm not. No. The first thing I will do is try to dissuade you to find out, why do you want to bomb the Third Mainland Bridge? All right, there goes the light. I hope it comes back. I'm going to ask you first, why do you want to bomb the Third Mainland Bridge? I want to know. Why would you want to bomb? I said, man, I'm just upset with the government. I will try to counsel you. I said, okay, I think you are going through a phase here. You don't have to bomb the Third Mainland Bridge. Okay, let's talk about it. Okay, maybe you lost your job, or even you want to go and kill yourself. It could be anything, because murder is a crime against the state. To kill yourself. So attempted murder, if you better, if you don't succeed, God be in trouble. Government is going to charge you. To kill you, you have no right to kill yourself. So if the person refuses, then I will tell him, you know what, I have to report you to the authorities. Because for the fact that I know, it makes me culpable. So you see how the thing works. And that is why all these things, let me see if I can share it. All those things I talked to us about on Sunday. One of the areas that we really need to, let me see if I could quickly share it. One of the things that I emphasized on Sunday is the need for us as a church to focus on teaching. Okay, we know the words, but people need to be taught the how. How do you do this? So I can tell you that, okay, we need to look at counseling. Sorry, I'm trying to share my screen. Let me see if I can quickly do that. It should work right about now. Okay, let me just put my screen beside me. Okay, all right. Let me just give me a second. I want to be able to make sure you see everything I'm showing you. If you look at those scriptures that we read, where Paul said that he himself is convinced that the church is full of knowledge and whatever. So it is not teaching that we need to do. So we need to start teaching people how to coach. Coaching is helping people to meet goals. We need to teach people how to mentor. How to mentor. We need to teach people how to counsel. Then also there is one therapy. Therapy is a major thing. There's some therapy you can learn. Meditation is a therapy. You can learn all those things. But there's some that you have to be certified to practice. So and that's why people like us, we have to spend lots of time and money to make sure that we learn all of these things. So don't just assume that you can handle everything. So you have to know if this situation, if you're on neutral is just the starting point. You enter a discipline time without any preconceived idea. Hey, bro, how you doing? So you go say, what's up? How you doing? So how's life? So that one can lead to anything. It can lead to, oh boy, man, I am so discouraged, man. I said, what's discouraging you? There's something, I've been thinking, there's something wrong with me. He said, what do you think is wrong with you? He said, somehow anything I put my hands on, and these are real situations I've actually engaged in with disciples. Every time anything I put my hand on does not go well. I think something is wrong with me. And then there's something that is called Socrates question, because I'm trained, I know how to ask those questions. So this question, obviously, this guy needs counseling. So I enter reverse. Counseling is about the past. I began asking questions about the past. How long have you been like this? There was a brother I'll get together with. I'm going to mask it also. This guy was not successful in life because he was self-sabotaging himself. It's like he would take one step forward and would take 3 steps backwards. He would sabotage himself. He'll get money to invest in something, you spend it. And I ask him why. When I began to do this question, I found out that it's a mindset that was inputted to him while he was small. His parents have told him, you will never become anything. For a person, not disciples, not disciples. You say, Onishorire, that's why we need to watch out for what we tell our children. So he just began to believe in it. That's okay. In fact, at the point, he now confessed that he actually believed that it is his brother that's going to be the star of the family, his younger brother. So even as a student, when they give him school fees, go and spend it without knowing why. I'm like, what do you do? I said, I don't even know. I don't know what's wrong with me. So we now began to now look at how to now break limiting belief and self-sabotage belief. And I began to now apply therapy. Therapy is for healing. Okay. And like, this week is a week of mental health. A lot of us, including myself, I've carried baggages, for the fact that I'm talking to you doesn't mean that I'm 100% healthy. Health, according to the UN, is defined as a state of physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, and well-being of a man. It's not the absence of infirmity. It's not he doesn't have any virus, he doesn't have any disease. Sometimes it could be mental health, emotional well-being. So we are not trained, many of us are not trained on how to help people to overcome emotional well-being. And that is one of the biggest thing, even right now, everywhere. Even Nigeria all of us are emotionally, we have trauma. Like right now, I paid so much money in Band A and they are taking lights. And I don't know how long, I was teaching, I was teaching School of Mission, because on Tuesdays, I teach from 7 to 9. And there was no lights. My Wi-Fi went off. I switched to my phone, as a router for my laptop. After a while, the phone ran down. After a while, the laptop ran down, and students were dead. They didn't know what happened to me. Do you know the trauma that can cause? Do you know the trauma it can cause? Wake up one morning and petrol. Just over a year ago, I used to buy 30 liters of petrol. Of my 30 liter was 3,000 naira. Right now, 20,000 cannot feed that 30 liters. How do you survive? Your child is going to school for 4 years, 6 years, they are still in school. There's a lot of trauma. How will you? And you see, things have increased, and yet your income will increase. So a lot of us, we need a lot of counseling. We need a lot of therapy. So can you imagine if you now come to that guy and say, bro, you're not paying your tithe. Hey, bro, you're not making disciple. Bro, you're not evangelizing. And you've not been able to give them bread like Jesus Christ did. Jesus Christ told them, they are harassed. Give them food. Say, no, let them go and find food, John. The disciples were not thinking about the people's well-being. Let them go and find food. Let them go and find food. I said, no, you give them what to eat. He said, even 1 year's wage cannot even feed these people. What do you have? We don't have 2 fish and some bread. Bring it. Yeah, sometimes if something does not enter people's stomach, they cannot enter their ear. So it is a topic we are going to continue to discuss as a church. I am sharing with you, not as somebody who has figured it out, but somebody who has also been a victim and who has also been a perpetrator of those things. I've also perpetrated those things. So because I know how it feels, so people like us should be in the best position to actually make amends. All right. So that is, praise the Lord. I never has brought light. I'm already sweating. Imagine, man. See, I'm already sweating. So you can imagine. And maybe there are people today who sincerely wants to join this midweek service. They really want to join, but maybe they don't have money in their phone, to join, or maybe they don't have light. So how do we mend those things? And that's why these things are recorded. Like this afternoon, I was able to upload it. I gave it to Bright, so let them go and review it. Okay, don't be too quick to rebuke. See, the word of God is for teaching, rebuking, correcting, training. You see, you teach. If they make mistake, you rebuke. Say, no, that one is wrong. Then you correct. This is right. Then you train them in righteousness. The Bible says there are different ways you handle situation. Think about it. If for the weak, Bible say encourage the weak. Rebuke those who are in sin. You don't give paracetamol for every sickness. So there's some people that you just have mercy. Bible say have mercy on them. Just, oh man, if only this guy knows. Some people, you can go to them and just cry. They just see you cry. I've done that sometime with a couple. When I saw whatever, I busted out crying uncontrollably because they have gone so far away. All I could do was also cry in their presence there. I can't rebuke them. Like, if only they know. The way they talk to each other, they've drifted away. And right now, those guys are not members of our church anymore. They left. But like, if only they know how far that they have gone. So that is my little way of answering that. So let's be discreet, but again, we cannot practice secrecy where you will see evil and you will not talk. And we do have a lot of that in our church, by the way. People say, I'm sure the leaders know. Let me tell you the truth. The leaders, including me, I am last month made it 30 years I've been on staff. So that means technically I'm probably the longest serving minister on staff in Nigeria, or let's say one, like the top 2 or so, longest serving minister in the whole church in Nigeria. I have seen a lot. Ministers, well, not ministers, staff people are probably some of the most ignorant people in the church. There's nothing we don't know. You think we know a lot of things. We think, they must know. We don't know. So look, you think we know. We don't know. So we need you to tell us what you know. All right? It is not slander. Tell the people, if you see your brother falling into sin, hey, bro, this thing is not good. Okay, do you need help? Can I talk to somebody? Because you want your brother to get. Don't assume that somebody knows. Okay? Or it's not in my region. No. Let's help people. Number 2 question I won't answer because it has to do with offering. That's not what I'm talking about here. But it's a question I would have loved to answer, but that will be another series. I have to do another series with you guys. The number 3 question is also has nothing to do with this. Has nothing to do with this. So I will not answer that because that's on a different topic entirely. Then number 4 question too just has nothing to do with it. Only one question has something directly to do with it. Now I know we have asked if you have questions, if you need to ask. Those are the questions that came from there. And let's keep asking questions. You can contact me privately. If you want me to do a recording, I can do a recording and send to all of you. In that, we'll put it on YouTube. You guys can go and download it and listen to. Let me see if there's anything typed in. Entering discipling with preconceived idea. We have practice opposites decades, which is responsible for people refusing. Everything in life can be pirated. Everything in life can be even Jesus. There is false Jesuses, there is false prophet, whatever. So there is imitation, there is fake, and I think again with humility too. There was a brother who was speaking in a video, a teacher in America, and he actually said that if he looks back, he has had more dysfunctional relationship than functional one, actually. Now, without trying to sound insensitive, I probably had like maybe 12, 13 discipling relationships since. And I can tell you that more than half of them were toxic. More than half of them were toxic, right from a young disciple. And I'm not going to make an excuse for anybody, but I'll also say with what I know right now, a lot of them were not trained. Because our church was growing very fast, very fast. And so you see somebody who's just a disciple for 2 months, having another discipling partner, discipling someone, oh, go and teach him. And our modus operandi as a church was to plant a church of disciples in every nation with a population of at least 100,000. And that is what we call the evangelization proclamation. Some of you are young will probably understand what I mean. Maybe you guys I can give you some link to my church history classes you can go and listen to. But around the year 2003, 2004, 2002, we signed this document, our top leaders. Our goal was to evangelize the whole world, at least in our own way, in one generation, whatever that means. And so if you want to evangelize the world, which role will you need? You need evangelists. Okay. So we're raising people up to become evangelists. We didn't care much about teachers and deacons and elders. In fact, the thought of those people kind of slowed us down. Oh, we don't, So what we did was that we were just giving back to children. Like someone just giving back. You didn't think about, do you have money to train them? Don't worry, let's just give back. Do we have a nanny? Can our house contain 20 children? We're just giving back. So because of that, a lot of children, spiritual children suffered neglect, suffered abuse. I grew up in a culture where, in my place where one of my uncle had like 12 children. One woman, 12 children. How are you going to, and he doesn't have a big job. He was there in the village. How is he going to marry 12 children? So a lot of them ended up sending out their children to go live with people. Some of them came to live with us. So you can imagine a lot of children were sent out, and a lot of them were abused. Emotionally, they were abused. Psychologically, they were abused. Sexually, some of them were abused. I've got to counsel people who became disciples who were sexually abused, both men and women. Some of them were used as house girl, like real bad abuse. So because the parents can't take care of them. So that was what happened to us. So the food that two children could have managed, 7 children are managing it. So they're going to be malnourished. They won't be able to go to very good school. They won't be able to wear shoes. There was a brother who was sharing one day and was crying. He was sharing with something. He said he never had shoes. He said his shokoto khaki was torn. It was torn at the back. He had to use his back. That has also happened to me. Because the chair that I sat on had nail, and it tore, and I had to be patching it, and I had to be carrying my bag, school bag behind me to cover my shameful, nakedness, because there was no money to do that. So you can imagine. So that was what happened to us as a church. We grew too fast, and we didn't make plans to take care of them. So a lot of people were emotionally abused, and when you give somebody authority, somebody who is not. Like if you give a child a car who cannot drive, he will kill someone. He will go and drive, or a drunk. So a lot of them were given because, this guy is sharp. Okay, go and disciple this guy. A lot of them were. Can you imagine someone who's discipling me was helping me out in a cooking class? He will go to a restaurant. And guess what? This is very interesting. I made more money than him. Okay, please, if you are unmuted, you might want to mute at this time. I made more money than than this brother. Now, this guy became one of my best friends. But this guy, I was more educated than him. This was intense. Even thinking about him right now, making me very emotional. We became very, very close. This guy didn't have a job, so I got him a job in the company where I was working as a messenger, as a cleaner. And he was my discipler. I got him a job as a cleaner. So sometimes maybe he would do something not wrong, whatever. They will rebuke you. They wanted me. I can't ask my discipler, and I have an office. Have you cleaned my office? No. I would rather come and clean my own office by myself. And I mean, he would do a good job. He was respectful and everything. Was not, I remember when he was helping me with the cooking class, he would take me to one restaurant. And I wanted to pay for the coke. He said, no, I shouldn't pay how you pay. I was like, this guy doesn't earn much. He's paying for my coke. Later on, I found out that the training he got was that if you are discipling someone, don't allow them to pay for your food so that you can disciple, you can rebuke them. That is not a good thing to actually do. That is not a good thing to do. Again, like I said, this guy became one of my best friends, one of my son's best friends. This guy will buy my son Nike shoe, go to like Nike store, because his life changed. He now went to school. He now got a good job. He now got a car. He now whatever, that time I have reversed back. I've entered the ministry. I had a nice job that was paying me more. Now I was in the ministry. So he got a job. So now he will not be giving me money. And that is why we also need to do good. We need to do good. I had a disciple partner, my very first disciple partner, who was not like the first three. I thought he was weak, because this guy would not insult me. I'm serious. This was in the early 90s. He would take me to his wife, to his house. He was a single brother, but a professional, a young professional, a bit older than me. And he would teach me how to play video game. Those days, I don't have a computer, like, whoa, even my whole advertising company, there's only one computer, the whole advertising company. But this guy had a computer in his house, and we would play game and talk and go out to go and buy food in the night and eat. He lived in a flat, in a big flat. And do you know, while we're there, he would not say, Emmanuel, go and sleep, it's late. And he will ask me to go and sleep in this. So what about you? He will bring out a rolled up, what they call a mattress from the corner in his office, in his studio, and he'll say, we'll sleep on the floor. I'm like, this guy crazy. I don't want to go and sleep in a big bedroom. He said, man, don't worry, you go sleep there. I'm going to wake up in the night and walk anyway. I thought, this guy was weak. I actually thought he was. I'm like, what kind of a disciple? It's not insulting me or whatever. But from this brother, I learned that discipline is about the heart. It's about the heart. I ran into him again. That was another friend of mine who was turning 50, and he was there. And two of us were like the MC and everything. These guys are. So not everybody was polluted or was polluted. Not everybody. If you give somebody who is not trained, he'll probably use the gun anyhow, shoot people. But this guy was civil, and he took discipline, but he didn't take the arrogance. He was not arrogant. So that was the first thing, and I learned a lot, from him. And I also had another disciple again, who was much older than me. This guy was in the ministry, and the way he would talk to me, teach me like a son. I was like, wow. And I was very open. I told him, was like, Mashibemo, we rebuke me, say, Mashibemo, Omadadania, who speak Yoruba, Omadadania, Mashibemo. I'll say, yes, sir, Mashibemo. And we were close. So he saw me as a human being. Now, there are people who are insecure. If you give an insecure person power, the way they will act will show you they're very insecure. So that challenged me. And that is why even right now, I've been in church for 30-something years, been on staff for 30 years. I have to study, I have to decide which one is the best way. You need to love people. Now, people who know me, I'm discipling some of you guys, say whatever. If I see sin, I don't shy away from sin. But you need to love people, people from the heart. If you are not able to help them, tell them, hey, I can't do this one. There is strength in humility. Okay? You can't, because of authority, begin to brutalize people. You are a soldier, so you already have authority. You are a policeman. There's no need for you shouting, slap people. That is not abuse. Okay? That's not abuse. So a lot of people who are sharing this thing are not young disciples. There are people who have become disciples like 30 years ago. People who are baptized like 10 years ago, whatever. You don't know what I'm talking about, and it's not everybody that fell into that. So right now, we now saw the need to have eldership, and I want to emphasize the word shepherding. There are maybe 4 words, maybe 5 words that that have been used to describe that role. In no particular order, the word elder has been used to describe that role, meaning they are older men. Another word is shepherd, Olushagunton, shepherd. That means that's a function. One is a title, the other one is a function. Function that they shepherd, they take care of the sheep. And there's a book called They Smell Like Sheep. Shepherds should smell like sheep because they are always around sheep. Always around sheep, not in boardrooms or not in whatever, always around sheep. Another word is bishop. Now that word bishop now was coined later on. The word bishop is now an elder or a shepherd who is now overseeing shepherds in order, whatever. Hey, and I'm telling people, we need to avoid that. You need to avoid whatever. So you now become a bishop. Another one is a presbyter. Some people don't know what a presbyter is. That way we have the Presbyterian church. Another word is pastor. From the word pastor. You see, we say in theology that your terminology, the terms that you use, reinforces your theology. By the kind of things you say, I will know what you're talking about. For example, if a disciple comes and say, "Hey, bro," I say, "Hey, bro, how have you been?" "Oh, man, I've been ill, I've been sick, I've been hospitalized, but I'm getting better, praise the Lord." Okay, so something registers in my mind. But can you imagine if you ask a disciple, "Hey, bro, have you been? I'm not seeing you." "I've been under attack." "Oh, under attack?" They are going through the same thing, but the kind of things you use will tell me where your mind is, your mindset. So, and that is why we need teaching in our church. We need to encourage teaching. We need to be able to dig things. So, yeah, teaching might be slow. Yeah, it is slow. I would say with careful instruction. And that's why being a teacher is the only role where God said, God will judge you more. And that's why I say, hey, teaching, we have to say the truth. I'm not going to lie to you. If we are wrong, we are wrong. We can't be wrong and right at the same time. And sometimes we have been wrong. I want to be able to say, guys, we've been wrong. We are sorry. Yoruba will say, pele olako ode labo. It has male and female. There is I'm sorry, and there's sorry now. Sorry now. The second one does not show brokenness, but the first one. So even when we apologize to one another, hey bro, I've wronged you. There needs to be acknowledgement. I can see that what I've said have wronged you. I am sorry. Please forgive me. You see, that is how it's also be. Not well, if what I've said wrong you. If, what do you mean if? That is maybe not. You're not taking responsibility. So even as we are here today, and God has placed people in our lives, whether they're young disciples, whether they're your peers, treat them the way Jesus would treat his disciples. They are not your disciples. They are disciples of Jesus. All right? They are disciples of Jesus. Now, there's something I want to say. Let me say, I want to share a screen. I actually wanted to say, do you have any question? I am not told I could do that. If I'm told I could, I will have kept up. But again, I don't want to be rowdy or anything. But let me share a concept, okay, with us. And that concept, states that discipling is actually a safety net. I have looked at it. I believe in discipling. I love to be discipled. I love when people try to help me, figure out what I cannot. Even when I can figure it out, it's just good when you have somebody around you who just walk the rope with you. And there have been times I've felt alone. I have felt I wish people have been there, for me more, because I'm human. I felt, oh man, I wish people understand me. Well, I really feel that. And I want to encourage us to be open. And there are some times in my openness, I have been very disrespectful. I can tell you that I have been very, disrespectful. That is not right. I have said things I shouldn't say. I have done things I shouldn't have done, and it's not just right. Okay, so here is what I will propose. Let me see if I can share my screen. I hope it comes out good here. Okay, I'm sure you can see my screen. What if discipling, we see it as a safety net? As a spiritual safety net. Now, let me quickly run this through us, and I'm going to probably open it for some Q&A. As a safety net, some of you have seen safety net before. You see them when they are building high-rise building, but it was never the same. It was never that. It was a time. So how do we define a safety net? A safety net is something that you put, a net is something that you put, underneath people who are performing at a great height. When there's a risky situation, you must put safety, like your seatbelt, or it could be a system to help people, that have serious, problem, and there's no other form of help. You give a safety net, like palliative is a safety net. Social security is a safety net. Discipline is also a safety net. It's a system or a plan for helping people, or to help companies, or to help society, or to help a country, or to help a family that are having problems. So let me tell you how the history of safety nets began. Historically, it began with this project. This project is called the Golden Bridge. It's in America. in America. They wanted to build this Golden Bridge, and the bridge was completed in 1937 after 4 years of dangerous, complicated work. The bridge stands today as a testament of human ingenuity. People were dying to build this bridge. People were dying. So I use this when I want to teach history. Now let's check this bridge out. So the original amount to build this bridge was $100 million. Can you imagine? $100 million. But the bridge stopped because people were falling and dying. This is not your regular bridge. The ropes were snapping, people were falling, and when you fall, you die. If you hit that water, your bones will break. But this man, a man came up with an idea. His name is Joseph B. Strauss, and he said, "I'm not going to use 100 million." This guy built that bridge with $35 million. Now, 35 minus 100, they saved a lot of money. So, how was this man able to build a Mission Impossible bridge that will have cost 100 million with just 35 million? Here are the key factors that guarantee this. And between 1933 and 1937, this bridge was born. So what are the key factors that guaranteed it, that this bridge was forced? One, I want you to focus on the picture. These were the original pictures that were taken when that bridge was being built. And I want you to observe what you can see in this picture. Usually when I teach this class, I ask people, can you guys tell me what you can see? What is common there is that there is introduction of a net. This guy now said people fall and they die. And when you hit the water, you will die. Your bone will crush because it's very, very high. People had hypothermia, cold, everything. Now, how much did it cost to put that net? It cost him at that time $130,000. This guy spent $130,000. The height, if you fall, is about 220 feet minimum drop. That's the shortest distance from any part of the bridge to whatever. And when you fall, you die. And this is also the first construction site in the world, in the United States, obviously, to require everyone must wear the helmet, strong hats. You see, everything that they did in that bridge is now mainstream today. Additionally, workers were required, we are issued to wear goggles, free goggles, and they also required to have a particular cream to protect their face and their against strong wind. And they also give them special diets, that will combat them from throwing up or vomiting. Okay. Now, today you will see this thing everywhere. This is standard practice everywhere. Now, the proposal that we have today might not be foolproof. Discipline structure will not solve all our problems that we had. It's not going to solve our problem, but it can help. It is better than if you don't have the discipline. It's better than every single thing. So they began to build that bridge. Now, did anybody die? Guess how many people died? Actually, some people died, even with the nets. A total of 11 people died during the project after the nets was built. Now, let me tell you how how they died. One man fell, and he fell past the net. He fell past the net. So where he was walking, there was no net there. He fell past the net and he died. One person. Then 10 other people died. 10 other people died because the scaffold broke and smashed against whatever and tore everybody. That's how they died. Not because of the net. Now the question is, how many people do you think jumped into the net or jumped because there's a net? Not one person. Not one person. This was a project that has killed so many people. But funny enough, as soon as the net was installed, people stopped dying. And that was why on the day this thing was inaugurated, about 200,000 people crossed that bridge by foot. And this is the true picture. People celebrated that bridge. And up to today, there's a memorial on that place, that's actually set there. And I believe that generations of our disciples unborn, they will remember us for what we do today, for the safety net that we put. Discipline is one of those safety nets. Now, a net is not a thread. All right, let me just stop sharing at this side. A net is not a thread. Let me see if I can get. I should have got to something like a thread. Now, this is like whatever. This is just a thread. So you can connect somebody to somebody here. That's just a rope. But when I have another thread connected to this place, here, another one here, another one here, they will not form a mesh. We will not form what they call a mesh. A mesh. That's what happen. By when we form a mesh, it will be hard for anybody to fall through. Sometimes today, people don't show up in church. Nobody knows because they are not connected. Everybody needs at least. Social science have proven it. Every human being, every child needs at least 4 connections to have a healthy growth. Everybody needs at least 4 connections to have healthy growth. Apart from your father, mother, they need other people also. They will need a very good friend. They will need somebody, whatever there. Listen, the biggest animal in the world is the elephant. The highest mountain in the world is Mount Everest. The biggest, planet in our solar system is Jupiter. Whatever. But listen, the biggest living organism, I normally use this as a quiz, but because we don't really have time to do that. But the biggest living organism in the entire world is not what you think it is. It's not what you think it is. The biggest, this thing is actually a tree. The biggest living organism in the world is actually a tree. Now, let me show you how this thing works. Let me see if I can just allow me just a little bit. Let me click this, and you guys will love this. Hopefully, I'm not guaranteeing that, but you're gonna find this interesting. And some of you who know me already know. You probably have heard me use this illustration, before, because it is so apt for everyone of us. It's something that we need to look at. Let me see if I can quickly do this. Give me a second, and I'm going to wrap up after this. Okay, all right. Let me go. How do you do this? Okay, I'm there. Now, listen carefully to this. I might use this. I talk about animals. I talk about whatever. But the largest living thing is actually this tree. It's a tree. It's called the redwood tree. It's the largest living organism in the world. The redwood tree is not a small tree. Let me give you some facts about the redwood tree. One, it is not just the tallest thing in the whole world. It can grow to a height of over 360 feet. Now, you don't want to know, that thing is longer than our Nitel building in Lagos Island. It's very, very tall. It can grow up to 18 feet, massive, very wide. It grows very tall and it grows very, very wide. It has a lifespan. Guess how long this tree can live? It lives for up to 2,000 years. Now, there is something strange about this tree. Something that is the tallest living thing in the whole world. It is massive. It can live very long, 2,000 years. However, the roots only grow 6 feet. I'm 6'1", or maybe let's say 6, if I'm not wearing a shoe. So what holds it? All those buildings in Dubai, on the island, for it to build a high rise, the higher the building, the more the foundation goes down. But how does this tree stand? Now, let me give you an idea of how big this tree is. Can you see a human being? This is a human being beside the trunk of this tree. That's amazing, right? Let me show you another human being. Look at a human being. This is how big this tree is. This tree is so big that they even carve grottos. Cars can pass it, horses can pass it. This tree is bigger than the coast redwood tree. It's bigger than the giant redwood tree. It's better than Statue of Liberty. I've seen Statue of Liberty, live. It's better than the United States Capitol. It is very, very big. Now, the second fact about the redwood tree is that its roots, even though its roots only go down 6 feet, but its root system spreads horizontally about 100 feet in every direction. 150 feet across every direction, up to the size of a football pitch. It grows, it spread out. That's just one. Now, interestingly, the root of one redwood tree has the capacity to interlock with another redwood tree. So when it goes, it sees another one, it interlocks. Another one, it interlocks. Now, as it interlocking, the root itself can sprout other tree that, that begins to now grow out. The interlocked, root can now withstand, because of that mesh, because of that net it has. It can withstand wind. It can withstand, hundreds of miles of wind, thunder, lightning, hurricane for 1,000 years plus. It can withstand. Now, okay, let's be real. Have we ever found a redwood tree that fell? The answer is yes. We have found redwood tree. The ones that fell are the ones that are not able to quickly connect in all directions. If you are a loner, you will fall when the storm comes. The Bible talks about the man who built his hand on the rock and the one who built his hand on a sand. That rock is the bedrock. It's the bedrock. You have to hit the rock. You drill down to hit the rock. Listen, whether your house is 1 billion naira and my own is 200,000 naira, the same thing will happen to every building. The rain will fall, the water will rise, and the wind will blow. The worries of life will hit everybody. Whether you have a good marriage or a bad marriage, everything will happen to you. But what will differentiate man A and man B is the foundation that you build on. Is the foundation, that, and that is the secret of the redwood tree. It is the roots that is the number one factor why the redwood tree grows so high. Without that spread, it will fall. Anything that goes up, we eventually fall. John chapter 15, verse 5 says, I am the vine, Jesus, and you are the branches. If a man remains in me and I in him, he will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. If anyone does not remain in me, and he is like a branch who is thrown away and burns. Today, I ask you, are you a loner? Spiritually, we cannot survive on our own. God did not create man. Man is a communal animal. It's a communal, let me not use the word animal. It's a communal being. We are not meant to be alone. We are meant to live in community. You see, a redwood tree will not survive at the beach. Some of you just want to go and stay at the beach. Nice, whatever there. A redwood tree is also some of you are like in the beach. You cannot survive in the beach. A redwood tree cannot survive in the desert. Some of you today, let me ask you, are you a redwood tree? Or maybe you are another kind of tree? I'll explain to you. And this is not to insult you, but maybe the kind of tree you are is like this. Are you a redwood tree or you are a Christmas tree? You are there for decoration. They put you up early December or mid-December. By first week in January, they take you down. You are decorated, but you do not grow. All the fruits on you are artificial. The leaf is artificial. The whatever is artificial. It's like these days. I keep saying to singles, hey, a time is going to come that we are, and I've seen a video where a church did that. Now, I'm not saying we're going to do that, but can you imagine there are some people who do makeovers? You see, I see some of this video of makeover. What if, and you say bride, a time is going to come to myself, okay, before you enter the church, one pastor did it and he's trained it. Like, bride, go and wash your face before come. Let's know who we are marrying. Don't let it be like Jacob, who went to go and marry, Leah, rather than marry, Rachel. Let's know. You wash your face, Jesus, is it the person I married? Are you for real? I ask you today. Are you a redwood tree? Colossians chapter 6, verse 7 says, so then, just as you receive Christ Jesus as Lord, continue to live in him, rooted, and built up in him, strengthened in your faith as you are taught, and overflowing in thanksgiving. So are you rooted today, or are you a loner? Question I want to ask you. Are you a rooted disciple? Are you a loner? We all need people in our lives. Yes, as a church, we are going to fix things that are wrong. We are going to train people. Remember what Nebuchadnezzar did? He selected young men, train them, whatever. You see what Jethro told Moses. Teach them, train them. Choose men who are trustworthy, who hate this one. We need people who we can test. The things you have heard me say, and trust to reliable men who are qualified to teach others. So we are going to train people. If you're not reliable, you are not given anything to do in this church. We need to rely on you. We don't want cheats. We don't want 400 people. We want people who are going to teach other people to become the way Christ wants. So I ask you today, my brothers, are you in a relationship that is benefiting you, benefiting other people, there's a safety net in Oshodi-Isolo. If somebody were to drop, can this net catch the person? Or are we dangling? See, when we dangle, there's a principle called the popcorn principle. Popcorn, you pick them, guguru, chop them one by one. If it falls down, empty scatter. But there's another principle called the pizza principle. Pizzas are glued together. That's why if you carry one, even when you cut, you carry one, you see the cheese will go wherever there. It should be difficult to pull anybody away from us because we are going to be binded together in love. As each part does its work, as we encourage one another to be mature. The goal is maturity until we all reach unity, maturity in Christ. So let's get together. We'll get together. Let's say, hey, how are you doing? Let's try to use that as maybe as our line. You can develop different lines. Hey, bro, let's hang out. How are you doing? Not, bro, you didn't go for your discipline time. Let's be human. Let's confess our sins. Let's be open. Let's be vulnerable. And together, by God's grace, we are all going to wake up one day and we're going to hear the words that we always want to hear. And that word will be, well done, good and faithful servants. That is what I want to hear. Well done. Rather than going to hell and becoming burnt, in the fire, God will say, you are well done. When the food is well done, it's not burnt, okay? You are well done. And that is where I'm going to stop today. It's 7:30, and we've already used like 1 hour. I don't know what we are going to do next. I'm going to ask the only black man who is white, to tell us what we're going to do. If you want to take question, we can take a bit question. But I wish there's so much I can pour out to you. But there is the spirit of the prophet. It's not a controlled prophet. So I'm going to stop here. The white or whoever that the MC is, I will yield the mic at this time.
Yeah, thank you very much.